Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. I am Joey Calvo. Our podcast is part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,200 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at https://worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise to the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. So today I am sitting down with John Lumgair, who is an animation director and is coming out with a new project called Jazz Cow. And so, John, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And so I'm going to start off like I normally start off with everybody else. Who is John Lumgair and how do we get to where we're at now?
So I'm, as you said earlier on, I'm an animation director based in London, and lived here since I was a child. And what do you want to know about me? Happy to answer any question.
Everything that you can say. You know, what got you into being into animation? What led you into it? Like you're like, mainly childhood into college, etc.
Yeah, happy to do that. So when I was young, like many people in my generation, we watched too much TV, and so yeah, I loved cartoons, watched them through to the end, watched all the credits, was like, how do they make these things? Went to the library, got books out on it, was like, how do they do this stuff? Looked up the names, started making flick books, doing drawings, trying to come up with silly stories with my brothers and all these kind of things. And I got to a stage when at school, I was better at arts than anything else. And it seemed kind of an obvious direction to go to art school and end up studying animation, which is not what I would necessarily recommend, actually. Because these days there's so many options to learn about animation online from really, really good people. But back then, that's what I did. And then we, after graduating, did a bit of freelance work, did all sorts of random jobs here and there, as you do to survive. And then a few of us decided to start a company together. And that was now about 18 years ago. So quite a while now.
Okay. All right. So you're coming up with this. What before Jazz Cow what else have you done?
Yeah, so Jazz Cow's a strange one because the idea was 20 years ago. So over 20 years ago, a group of us were having a laugh and this idea developed. And we even pitched it to various networks back then and had some interest, but it went into a draw for many years. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you a second. We got cut out because I have the T-Mobile Wi-Fi, and it goes out once in a while because a lot of people are using it. So I apologize that it cut you out. So you may have to start back over a little bit.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's a little bit strange because Jazz Cow is both old and new. So it was about 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, a group of us were having some fun and laughing, and this idea developed out of that. And we pitched it to various networks and had a bit of interest and had meetings and things, but it didn't go anywhere. Then it was after that I ended up doing lots of freelance work. And when we started our company, we did music videos and just all sorts of different things. Stuff for government, stuff for charities, stuff for businesses. And really just trying to earn a living and just trying to survive. And Jazz Cow for most of this time remained in a drawer. But it's so we'd done stuff for kind of well-known clients like the BBC and Channel 4 and Unilever and all these kind of famous things, but most of our jobs were for small unknown organizations. And So that was how earning money, and then Jazz Cow was something that I was working along on the side. So it's the passion project that keeps going on.
Okay. All right. And so you mentioned about Jazz Cow being so. Um, Tell us about Jazz Cow.
Mm.
What
So
what would we be looking forward to see? And um, you also at one time, and I don't know if you are still doing it. You were looking for investors for Jazz Cow.
yes, so because we don't have any money because we make films, it's not a great way to make money. We've and we've had various stores open and closed with Jazz Cow. We've decided to go onto Kickstarter and try and raise the money there, which we're launching on the 25th, so not very long away. And so what Jazz Cow is an animated sitcom, and it's about a jazz playing cow who leads a resistance movement to algorithms and to big tech and to all this kind of top down technological stuff that he's having to deal with. All he wants to do is just play a sax in a room and just be left alone, but that's not really an option.
Mm.
So he leads the fight back, and so that's the world, and it's and the episode that we're trying to get off the ground is about a heist. So his saxophone gets stolen, and he uses the music of John Coltrane to get a saxophone back.
Wow, interesting. So we're kind of making Jazz Cow like a superhero.
Yes, he's kind of modeled on Humphrey Bogart, but he has this. But he's like the superhero whose ability isn't really to fight, but to play jazz instead.
Okay. So kind of so because that was the one question I mainly had was, have you thought about going into like the superhero genre with your animation? But explain as you explained to me right now, you already are with Jazz Cow, um, and making Jazz Cow just like um, like the man from Uncle, kind of, you know, um, that way. Have you thought of maybe expanding Jazz Cow out to where? And I brought this up to another guest um, of maybe his saxophone could be superpowers.
So it's more that jazz is the superpower rather than the tools he plays. So it's his saxophone is the power. It gives him the power to play jazz because obviously he needs an instrument, but it's really him, and it's really the collective power. Because the thing with jazz, you're a musician, and you'll know this, right? That when you've got musicians playing together, there's a collective power that doesn't exist when they're on their own, and it's that listening and it's that element that gives them the power to kind of overthrow the tech powers.
Okay. All right. Um, hmm. What? So, um, and if anybody has questions, but as of right now, we don't have any people watching it live, so not many questions are going to come out. Um, so, again, we've mentioned that Jazz Cow is a superhero in a way, fighting the resistance. Um, have you thought of maybe um, creating another superhero type animation after Jazz Cow?
Um, Not especially. I mean, there's always lots and lots of ideas that I've got that I want to do. The next thing I want to do is a comic about is more like an Indiana Jones. So I guess some superhero-ish qualities to Indiana Jones, but I feel like the superhero genre thing, we've had a lot of it recently. So I think we generally as a society need a little bit of a break from it.
Ah, okay. So when you're saying recently, explain that a little bit more about that.
So I think we've just seen the Marvel universe become the dominant force within the cinema, and so other it's always the kind of mashup of the different superheroes from the Marvel universe, the Marvel spin-offs, Marvel characters keep being rebooted, and I feel like we've just seen for the last 5 or 6 years a lot of superhero stuff, and I think everything goes in waves, and I feel that this wave has had enough for a while, and I think in a few years' time superheroes can be back, but I feel like now I think we've just seen too many of them.
Okay. All right. So, my questions are practically done because mine was more in the superhero. And the reason why I asked that is because, give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Just bear with me one moment. Okay. All right. So I do apologize for the slight delay, folks. I just want to bring something up. The reason why I mentioned superheroes is because I'm actually friends with a real life superhero.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, and give it a minute, and you will see. This is American Fox, and she is a real life superheroine, as I said. One moment here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so American Fox is a real life superheroine, as I said. And no secret identity. She's American Fox 24/7, like back in the 70s where there was Plastic Man and she and he was just Plastic Man all the time. She is American Fox all the time, and she fights crime, and she's a great person. She's this podcast's #1 fan and #1 supporter, and so I'm just gonna put up something here. So if anyone wants to get to know American Fox, you can find her on Twitter, on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram, and those are the handles right there. She is always looking for people to chat superheroes with. So that's why most of my questions were coming about, mainly because of American Fox, because I'm not saying I was hoping to see Jazz Cow looking like this, but but that's one thing that we do bring up sometimes And usually, like I said, she is the number one fan, number one supporter, and she is, kind of like the rock to this podcast. She makes sure, she kind of makes the attempt to make sure that this podcast continues on. And that's one great thing I can say about, having the support of people like American Fox. So, so you were saying that the next thing that you were looking into was like a Indiana Jones type that you might blend into a superhero now.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah, it's so one of the things with animation is it's so hard. You've got to bring it, you've got to get support from so many different places. You've got to convince so many people. I've got an amazing team on board with Jazz Cow, but it's a lot of work trying to manage all of that. And I'm really looking forward to just sitting and drawing and not having to rely on any other human beings to make something. And so I started creating this comic about a search for a hidden temple. So it's very, very much in the Indiana Jones thing.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike Indiana Jones, he's an indigenous South American. So he's it's not like he's going into someone else's place to find hidden treasure. He's actually finding it within his own country. So that's the one of the things that's different.
Okay. So, kind of in closing, how can people reach out to you and help you with Jazz Cow? Now, I know when you emailed me, this was the website,
Yes.
jazzcow.co.uk. When you go on there, you can actually learn more about Jazz Cow and how Jazz Cow is like.
Yes.
How else besides? Is there another way to get to? If anybody wants to, that's watching this, that will be watching this later on, decides they want to go to the Kickstarter.
Yeah. So on the day of the launch, if it all works, I'll be forwarding jazzcow.co.uk to the Kickstarter. But you can also find the link on Jazz Cow. There's a little notify me when we launch, and you can sign up to the mailing list, which is hosted on Substack as well. So if you go to jazzcow.substack.com, you can see some of our articles, and we're on Instagram, which is jazzcow.tv, and you can find me just by searching for my name in many, many places. At the moment, I'm incredibly busy, but usually I'm very happy to talk to anybody if I can fit it in. So, yeah.
And just to let you folks know, John came to me about this. So, because at the time, he must have caught one of my podcasts that where I was saying I was like kind of saying goodbye. He's like, I want to save your podcast a little bit.
Yes.
And I was like, sure, the door's open, So like I'm saying, even for right now, the door will always be open. So if anything, like when you were mentioning about the one like Indiana Jones, when that's ready to come out, you're welcome to come back on here and let me know, and we'll be happy to introduce that character out. And same thing if you expand Jazz Cow out even more, anytime that you have something new that you want to promote, just let me know. We can set something up and we'll bring it out on here, and hopefully people later on will catch on to it and help you out on Kickstarter, or even if you have the finished piece when it's out on TV and maybe out on YouTube for all I know. Once that's done, they can be able to watch it and maybe give support to you that way. All right, so we got Jazz Cow out of the way. We got the Kickstarter out of the way. We got the website out of the way. And like you said, you can be found on Instagram as well. And so, practically in so many words, we are kind of out of questions. But I do thank you, John, for taking your time out and coming on this podcast and introducing us to Jazz Cow. And hopefully you'll get the assistance that you need to bring Jazz Cow out more. Who knows? Bring it out in the States here, bring it out in the United States. And, because because on YouTube, it's been more Facebook. Between Facebook and Instagram, there's been little snippets, little clips of like How I Met Your Mother's on Channel 4 in England, or other shows that are that are American. They're being shown in England. And you're saying that that we were saying that Jazz Cow is going to be like a sitcom type, like The Simpsons.
Like The Simpsons, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
we've got a mixture of British and American cast.
Okay.
And Venezuelan and maybe some other places. Someone's not signed on the dotted line yet, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever decide to put a real life superheroine into the Jazz Cow series, let me know. Like, because who knows? Maybe American Fox could do a
cameo.
Yeah, cameo. Excuse me, a little bit of dry eye. American Fox could do a cameo in England. She'll probably shoot me for saying it, but it doesn't hurt to help. Doesn't hurt to say it. Because, like I said, she's a real life superheroine. So, John, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And like I said, anytime that you got something good coming, shoot me a line. We'll be happy to have you back on and, bring it out more.
Thank you so much.
All right.
It's been a pleasure to be on.
And thank you, everyone, for watching the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. My name is Joey Calvo. God bless you all.